Hello and welcome. My name is Marin El-Khoury. I'm Customer Success Manager here at Big Universe. Very happy to have you with me, Andrea, and I know you're going to share this with the rest of your teaching staff there. We're going to do a training on what Big Universe is about and how you use it. And for your teachers that may be watching this later, um, I know that you get a lot of things thrown at you. My wife's a teacher and I have children in elementary school, so I know that it seems like there's something new every day and stuff that sometimes seems like more of a hindrance than a help. All I ask is that you do two things through this presentation, and one is to let me show you what Big Universe has to offer. Two is show you how easy it is to use. I really do think you're going to find it a great benefit to you and your students in the classroom, but that's up to you to make the decision. I just ask that you give it a chance. There are going to be two parts to this presentation. The first is going to be using slides, and I'm going to take you through some slides to give you a comprehensive overview of the features, as well as to show you some ways that educators are using them in their classrooms. And then second will be a live demonstration that will show you how to navigate the site and access the features that we're going to talk about. And anytime that Andrea wants to bounce in with questions, you're more than welcome to do that for the benefit of everybody that's going to be listening to this, and I'll kind of check in from time to time as well. I'll try to anyway. So moving right along, it helps even before we begin to understand just a little bit about the philosophy that our product is based on. Big Universe was founded by our CEO on a commitment to improve the world through education. We really strongly believe that's the best way to change our world for the better. We place an incredible value on what you all are doing every day, and we recognize that to be successful, students need to be able to have great literacy skills. They've got to be able to read and write. So building these literacy skills is essential for their lifelong learning success. Not telling you anything that you don't already know here. Just want to let you know that we recognize that, founded the product on it, and we recognize this very special partnership between teachers and students represented here. And so we put every feature that we develop, every improvement that we create through this filter of, number one, how is it going to engage students to read and write more? And number two, how is it going to save teachers time by providing them valuable resources? Our whole approach to putting Big Universe together, our literacy platform, was to base it on popular balanced literacy frameworks, which you are familiar with and are probably using, such as Bloom's Taxonomy or Daily 5. Obviously, you're in a Common Core state. And we, as we looked at these different frameworks, we saw that there's kind of this integrated model of literacy where they're all teaching the same types of skills that you've taught for years and years in the classroom: reading, writing, speaking, listening, sharing, and assessing, that enable your students to comprehend the information you're providing them, synthesize it, create new ideas, so forth and so on. So our goal was to provide you all as educators a solution that makes it easy to leverage all these critical components in a single solution that's easy to use and fun for your students, so it keeps bringing them back to it. There are two components to our digital literacy solution. They are our ready-made ebook library and balanced literacy tools for differentiated reading, writing, quizzes, real-time data. There are also some sharing features built in to foster independent peer-to-peer learning and that allow you to share resources and collaborate as teachers as well. It's available on any modern device with a modern web browser, and our product uses what's called a responsive design so that it adapts to all screen sizes, ranging from even a smartphone all the way up to your digital whiteboard or smartboard. The goal is to enable 24/7 learning inside and outside the walls of the school, even if students need to read for homework assignments and research, for summer reading, vacation, whatever. So when we say one stop, we wanted to make sure that as a teacher you got everything that you need for literacy in one place to assess, assign, teach, track, and engage your students. And we also wanted students to be able to expand their world by exploring their areas of interest. So first, let's take a look at our ebook library, the first half of our solution. There are over 10,000 books coming from over 40 different publishers, many of whom you would recognize, with unlimited 24/7 access. We kind of think of this as almost like a Netflix for education. All the texts are leveled and aligned using different reading leveling systems like Lexile, Fountas and Pinnell, DRA, Accelerated Reader. And you can have the whole class or even the whole school reading the same book at the same time. There aren't any hassles of check-ins and check-outs and time limits. So let's take a little closer look at the library. And Angela, not to put you on the, or excuse me, Andrea, not to put you on the spot, but if you're able to break in and just let me know if there's a particular reading leveling system that you guys have arrived at as a school, or if it's just kind of up to the teacher, whether they level their students and what system that they use.
Emerald uses the AR program.
Okay.
So focus on ATOS.
ATOS levels. Gotcha. Perfect. Okay. Thanks for that. The goal in our library, which is what you're seeing here, is to allow you all as teachers to use some very powerful filtering options and search options that really are unmatched in our industry to find the right book for the student you're trying to teach or the lesson you're trying to teach. So to find topic-specific content. And for students, we want to allow them to find content that appeals to them that's at their level of comprehension. So you can combine these filters such as reading level, genre, even language, publisher, and so forth. And the result is that it's going to save you time as a teacher and promote further engagement for your students who can find books in different ways, whether it's just independent exploration, self-searching, or looking at books that they've been assigned by their teachers. And teachers feel pretty comfortable allowing students to look through books since they, are coming from recognized education publishers and then are further vetted by us before they go into the library. Next slide here. Just want to show you some of the different types of text that you'll find within Big Universe. We really do want to engage students across the spectrum, realizing that you'll have any number of different types of readers and reading levels and needs in any classroom. So for teachers, you want to find content that aligns with your lesson plans. We have fiction, nonfiction, beautiful images, very well-written text, authentic texts. Other types of books include books in foreign languages, especially Spanish, where there are over 1,000 Spanish books, some of which are English-Spanish bilingual, like the one you see here, where they've got the story in both languages on each page. Great for ESL students or students learning foreign language. The high-low books, or as some people call them, high-interest readers, have popular topics, sports stars and pop stars, to kind of entice readers that are below grade average to read more. And you'll find that even your good readers get interested in those types of books when they're doing just their own private reading. And then fiction, nonfiction pairs are used mostly in an elementary school setting. So what it boils down to is, you've got these different types of books. We make them easy to find, so that results in more time to read and write, more books for your budget, which is one of the reasons, obviously, that you guys have got a subscription. And we really do want to try and help you to create and foster even more of a reading culture so that Big Universe can become a habit in your school. Whoops, let me come back to the slide here. This is just showing a teacher, one of the ways that you can use it in your classroom. She's using it at the smartboard, obviously, with her students following along, maybe for a close reading exercise, maybe for some nonfiction content instruction. About 65 to 70% of the books in our library are nonfiction, and that number changes as we add more books, and we're always processing some more books to add. So this is just one of the ways that you can use Big Universe in your classroom. We've got time-saving tools built into the library. Everybody has the power of choice, whether you're a student or teacher, to find books that you like and create your own bookshelf and create your own collections. Some students will do this. It's especially helpful for teachers because it allows you to organize what you find in the same way that you might organize books in physical book bins in your classroom. And these stay in your teacher account year after year if the school should choose to renew their subscription. So you know, you can keep these collections that you've created, and then when you come to that subject material that you've based a collection on, or maybe it's a month of the year, or however you organize, when you come to that, you've got your books there that you can start to assign out either to the whole class or reading groups, or you know, gifted, remedial readers, individual readers, however you're assigning your books out. And for students, it gives them kind of a sense of empowerment because they've got a measure of choice. Speaking of which, they also, all teachers and student accounts have their personalized homepage when they sign into Big Universe. This is the Me tab, where you can select your avatar and your background image. Students love to do that, to personalize it, and it kind of helps them have a sense of their own space within Big Universe to promote deeper engagement and keep them coming back to read more. There are some safe sharing features built in where students can see each other's bookshelves if they become friends with a classmate, and that exposes them to books they might not otherwise have seen. It can also create kind of a book club type of experience around the lunch table or at recess sometimes. So it's a safe sharing feature, and for teachers, you can connect with each other, allowing you to see each other's bookshelves and collections, and then utilize those collections for your own classes, so you can collaborate without having to you know, duplicate your colleagues' work, which is a really neat tool. Here's another example of Big Universe being used with one-to-one devices, where every student has their own device, all reading along on the same book. So you know, we've got all this great technology in our classrooms, and sometimes it can be a little underutilized. They've turned all the devices into reading machines for the time being, with everybody with their own copy of the book open. The library can also help you differentiate instruction very easily because, as mentioned, all the books are leveled and cross-referenced. So you guys are using ATOS for Accelerated Reader. You find the student's ATOS level, or the group, or the class, if you're doing a close reading exercise, want to challenge them. And it allows you to differentiate, find the books that you want, and then there's a complementary assignments feature where you can assign that book to your whole class, a group, or even a single student, and then it's going to show up in their assignments tab, and they'll know that you directed them to read that book. And also, if they're you know, reading below grade level, they don't have to feel embarrassed carrying around a print book that's below reading level. It affords them some measure of privacy. In the administrative account, Andrea, that you have access to, I probably mentioned when we were on our first call, you have a couple of content filtering options where you could set a grade range filter, being that you're middle school. Probably don't want to do that since you want below reading level books and you want advanced books for the advanced readers. However, if you all should find a book and arrive at the agreement that it's just not fit for your school or whatever, you have the ability in the admin account, not a teacher account, but in the administrative account, to go in, find the book, open its information page, and block it from teacher and student access. Another example here of students on their own devices, but this time they're all on different books doing their own thing, and this independent reading setup this is really where we find the majority of usage on Big Universe takes place, over 50%. So that's going to be a very important use in your classrooms where students are doing their own independent reading for their own projects. So we've looked at the library. That was the first half. Let's take a look at our balanced literacy tools that really do supercharge the platform. These are tools for differentiated reading, writing and publishing online, quizzes, and real-time actionable data. Here are a few examples of these different balanced literacy tools being used, either in independent reading, guided reading, intervention, summer reading, writing workshops, reading workshops. There are really a number of different ways to use these. First off, we have quizzes written by licensed teachers that the students can take right within Big Universe that test for higher order thinking skills. They follow PARCC and Smarter Balanced guidelines. They're aligned to Common Core standards, and they address all levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So they're really good, especially if you come here into your Blue Manage tab as a teacher to get an overview either for your whole class or for a single student of how well they're comprehending the materials that they're reading on Big Universe, that you're assigning them and directing them to take the quiz. We really do want to build all critical literacy skills in every student. One way is to have this reading-writing connection. There's a writing tool that can be used on a desktop or laptop computer for either creative writing, for written responses, for your reading-writing connection, for research projects, other uses. So that can be a really great tool to inspire creativity. We've had over 300,000 books published by students on Big Universe since 2011. And I don't think I mentioned before, but we've had over 2 million books read by students. So we're very proud of the usage that takes place. Students can publish those books to teachers who can then share them with the class or even with the whole school if it's a really great presentation. In the teacher's account in the writing area, the writing tab, you have access to lesson plans written by licensed teachers, and these are a really neat way, an easy way to integrate Big Universe into what you're doing in your classroom. They're organized by grade level. I'll show you how to get to those. They have the book, a link to the book that you need right within the lesson plan, any additional supplemental materials. They can even be great for an unexpected absence if you need to leave something for a substitute teacher. Here's an example of students using that writing tool on a desktop computer in maybe the computer lab, everybody kind of making their own creations. As a teacher, you've got access to real-time actionable data. We talked about those quiz reports. You've also got reading logs where you can see a bird's eye view of everything that students on your roster are reading. And I will mention, Andrea, that your group did a terrific job of setting all your accounts up for the middle school, where you've got all the students are rostered to their various teachers. The teachers have their email addresses in their accounts, so they can if they forget their password, they can use the forgot password link at the bottom of the sign-in page. Everything should be set up quite well in there for them. And as a teacher, if you're in here looking at this data, you can see kind of a nice graphical overview of reading statistics for your class. And since those emails are in their accounts, they're going to get a weekly summary email shown here on the smartphone screen that just provides a weekly usage statistics for students on their roster. So all these are tools to kind of help you all gauge and assess your students. We certainly have support options available for your teaching staff. I'll show you the online help. They can email us, they can call us. On our support site, there are frequently asked questions, topics. You can search for help. We have a blog site that's updated daily by guest teachers, really neat ideas in there that just span the scope of general education. And then we put out a newsletter now and then that'll give you some neat tips on using Big Universe. And I'll show you how to kind of get to this help area and contact us in the live demo. You can also find testimonials from other teachers and success stories from other schools and school systems. And these types of things, I encourage you to take a look because they can really paint some color around how other schools have made Big Universe a success. So we really tried to think of everything for you and put it all in one place through the ready-made leveled ebook library and your balanced literacy tools for things such as writing, listening. We do have some specialized lists of books. I talked about the Spanish-English bilingual books, the fiction on fiction pairs. There's also a selection for either non-readers or very early readers. In your situation, it could be used for special education classes. These books are animated ebooks that tell the story. Some of them have music, and there are a lot of like folk tales and fairy tales and so forth. So that's kind of a listening connection. And so the two components of the library, the ebook library, balanced literacy tools, you've got the sharing features to foster learning and collaboration, and the platform works on any modern device, small screen to large screen. So want to make sure you've got everything to assess, assign, teach, track, engage your students, and to help students explore and expand their own world and their areas of interest. It's a proven solution. There is third-party research available on our website. I'd encourage you to take a look at it. Accessible 24/7 on any device, and I really think you'll find it uncomplicated. I'm going to show you how uncomplicated it is now as I transition to the live demo. And as I do that and get signed into a teacher account, Andrea, just let me know if you've got any questions at this point.
Thank you.
I'm going to choose the sign in button here in the upper right hand area. This is www.biguniverse.com. If you're going to bookmark a link on a device, you probably want it to be this sign in link after you press the sign in button. You can even add a / after the sign in and put EMS if you want to. And then bookmark that, because that'll populate your group username of EMS. All teachers and students will need to use that when they sign in. You may have your usernames and passwords already. If not, I'm sure those will be gotten to you. It looks like your teachers' usernames are last name, first initial for the most part. Some maybe vary a little bit, and for the students, they've got a 6-digit number. And Andrea can get your passwords too. But for me, I'm just going to sign into a sample teacher account. Let's see, did I do this password right? Okay, yes. All right, when I first sign in, it takes me to that red Me tab where I see my bookshelf of all the books I've added to it here. What I really want to focus on first, though, is the orange Library tab, which is really the heart and soul of Big Universe. You've got these 16 most popular genres represented by thumbnail images, and your students will love just kind of browsing through these and seeing what they can find. Here are the different book covers. I can scroll down through, and then I can click Load More at the bottom. You know, there's probably at least a couple hundred in this action and adventure genre. And the most recently added ones will always show up first. You can toggle back and forth between a grid view and a list view. And when your students click on one of those 16 most popular genres here in the Library tab, those will be sorted for English language books. What's going to be most valuable to you all as teachers are to filter through our books to find ones that fit what you're looking for. So as an example, I'm going to come here to reading levels. You've got these color-coded boxes, and I'll choose the red for ATOS, for Accelerated Reader, since that's what you guys have kind of arrived at as a school. And I don't know, let's say that I wanted a book in the 5 to 5.9 ATOS level range, unless, Andrea, you want me to select something else as just kind of an example. So I think there were 800 some books in this range that came up, which is a whole lot to look through. So let's filter down further. Let's say that I want to choose a nonfiction book, which is a really prevalent need in schools. We find they want nonfiction that students can research with and assimilate information from, that is not really old, and it's hard to keep newer average publication dates in the physical library, sometimes very costly, where our average publication date is around maybe 3.5 years. So I'm going to select nonfiction, and that's going to narrow it down to, looks like 664 books, which is still a heck of a lot of books. Let me come down here. I could choose a basic subject area if I wanted to, but I want to show you under filters in this expanded sidebar area here. If I choose genre, even above and beyond those 16 most popular genres you saw, there are additional ones in here you might be interested in, such as character education, the high interest or those high-low books for below reading level readers, all kinds of stuff in here, geography, sports and recreation, transportation. I'm going to choose science and technology, just as an example. And that's narrowed it down to 143 books. Let's say that I also want to choose a book that has a quiz that the student can take right here within Big Universe. So I'm going to come under Filters, select Quiz. And reading informational text is pretty much any type of quiz. I could break it down by quiz concept if I wanted to, like to test for craft and structure, but let's say I just want one that has any type of quiz just to test for comprehension. I'm going to select Done, And it looks like for this particular reading level, nonfiction science and technology books that have a quiz that can be taken within Big Universe, I've narrowed it down to like 9 books here and constructed a nice tight search. And you'll see on each cover it's got the different reading levels shown in these color-coded boxes. So now I can just open one of these books by clicking on the cover. It takes me to the information page. If there's an accelerated reader quiz associated with the book, obviously those are owned by Accelerated Reader and proprietary. We can't just reprint their quizzes, but we can at least cross-reference the quiz number so students can go find that and get their points if that's what they need to do. And then from here, you've got similar books recommended at the bottom, and I can just click on the book cover or on Read Book to read the book. This is exactly how it's going to look from the student account as well. Everything I've showed you so far functions exactly the same way in the student account. And then it's meant to be a very intuitive reading experience. I've got these large arrows here to flip page by page with a little animation for the page flipping, which may or may not come across on the webinar. Well-written text. You know, if I want to zoom in, I've got a plus sign here to see kind of more detail and move the page around, a minus sign to zoom out. I could go full screen if I wanted to with this icon. The double arrows take me to the back of the book or to the very front of the book. I could enter in a page number if I wanted to. One feature a lot of students really like is this bookmark icon that most of our books have. If I select that and then say, you know, I come back to the same book tomorrow or at home when I'm doing some homework and it's open to the front cover, if the student goes to this grid icon and then they select the bookmark submenu, it'll show any pages they've bookmarked with the last page showing last. And I can click on that. It'll take me right there. These are their own bookmarks, not for anybody else. And then I can toggle the grid icon, just pick up reading right where I left off. There are some other sub-menus here in the grid icon. The first one shows thumbnail images of every page, which is just kind of like flipping through the pages of a paper book. You see where you want to go, you click it, and it takes you right there. Some books have a table of contents. I don't know if this one does. Yep, it sure does. So you can click the area of the book that you want to go to. And some of that third-party research has shown that students will actually read more just because the digital format of the book appeals to them. I'm going to X to get out of that and just click into another book here to show you a few other things you can do. One would be to assign the book to your students. I could select all to assign it to the whole class. If you've got a particularly large roster, which you may very well in middle school if you're teaching multiple sections, you may need to click Load More. Or I could just select a single student or a group of students that I want to differentiate learning to and assign this book to them. I'll select Save. It'll show me it was assigned to 5 students. I can preview the quiz here by selecting Take Quiz. I can add it to my bookshelf and to any collections that I've created just by selecting the collections that I want to and then selecting Save. It'll show me that it was added. Also, there's this little magic X up in the upper right-hand area that I can click. It'll take me back to where I was. In this case, it's that nice search I've constructed, so I don't have to reconstruct it if there are multiple books here that I want to assign to my class or to different students. I can just go into the next one, assign that out to whoever I like, click the X again, and then go right to the next book without having to redo my search. So that's a little bit of a time saver. Speaking of your bookshelf, the way that you will want to manage that is not in the Read Me tab, but here in the Library tab by selecting My Bookshelf. This is where you create collections. You'll see this teacher has a whole bunch of collections. You just type in this box here, create your collection, find a book either in your library or here in your bookshelf that you want to add a collection. Click the bookshelf icon again, your collections appear, and then you just select the collection that you want to add it to. So great way to organize. And let's see, in the you've also got the search bar up here where you can just search for books individually, obviously. The Assignments tab is going to show you all books that you have assigned to your students with most recent ones first. You can view it by student over here in the right-hand sidebar, so you can see for every student on your roster exactly what books they've been assigned. The Manage tab has a number of different things in it. You've got your roster here. If you need to take a student off your roster, you can select the minus sign, or you can multi-select and then disassociate students. Just don't delete the student, or that'll take them out of the school entirely. If you need to find a student, if you're team teaching, got a new student in your class, they're not on your roster, come under View to All Students, find that student. You can sort by grade if you want to. You can add them one at a time with the plus sign. You can select all in the particular view and associate all of them, or I can just pick, a few students to add to my roster and select Associate Students. The Quizzes button is where you see that nice overview of all your quiz scores for your class. This teacher's had 2 students that have taken quizzes. They're plotted here, and I can click into an individual student to then see, how many quizzes have they taken, how many have they scored 90% above on, what subject areas have they been in, breakdown of scores by concept and subject. And I can even click into one of these boxes to see exactly what a student got right and what they got wrong on their quiz. And when they take a quiz, they'll see this instant feedback here of their score and different colored dots for questions they got right, wrong, partially correct, or skipped. So it's a great tool for students to either prepare for a test or be assessed, and for you as the teacher to gauge whether they're comprehending the materials they're reading and help you, figure out, do they need to be in a different reading level. The reading log just gives you a bird's eye view of everything your students have been reading, which can be helpful. Usage shows you those usage statistics for everyone in your class, and you can even click into an individual student to see their usage statistics. Let's see, what I'll do just very briefly is I'll show you an update account. If you click your avatar, go to update account, you can change your avatar, you can change your theme, this stuff that students like doing all the time, which will change the look of your Me tab here. You could update your password, your email address. I would not change your username without coordinating that with Andrea, because she needs to keep track of those so they stay the same from year to year and your account data stays the same. I'm going to briefly sign out of the teacher account and into the student account, as long as we're still running good on time, for maybe another like 5 to 7 minutes here. All right, so here in the student account, you'll see it comes to the red Me tab. The orange Library tab looks, functions exactly the same. One thing I didn't show you are these custom lists here under filters in the right-hand sidebar. You'll find these in your teacher account as well, where you've got access to the fiction, nonfiction pairs, maybe for beginning reader classes or something like that. The animated ebooks, really for non-readers or early readers, and your English-Spanish bilingual books, which can be really neat for your ESL classes or for students that are learning Spanish, which obviously you've got foreign language in middle school these days, so you've got the translations built right into each page, which is really neat. And in the main library, I'll just click library to reset my tab here. You can also search books in a few books in a number of different foreign languages. Of course, most all our books are in English, and then we do have over 1,100 books in Spanish. Excuse me. Back in the Me tab, this is where the student can find friends by selecting this button under their avatar. The other student or teacher would have to tell them, here's my username, look me up. They'll search for them and add them. And then when they do, they'll be in their friends list. So when they sign in and come to friends here, they'll see their friends. What it allows them to do is to see their friend's bookshelf, and then they can come to messages if they want. They can send 1 to 15 pre-scripted messages that are all positive. I like your book selection, check out my avatar, have a nice day, you're an avid reader, stuff like that. No free-form text or anything, so it's all very safe. And as a teacher, you may very well want to have your students to add you into their friends list. You could do it for them if you sign into all their accounts outside of class, or just have them find you, add you, and then you can say, all right, come to your friends list when you sign in. I want you to find me, Jay Smith. You can tell them this is my avatar. I'm the funny blue and yellow stripe guy. And then you can say, all right, today, I want you to find a book that's in my bookshelf. Or I want you to click this drop down and come to this new collection that I've created. And I want you to pick 2 books in here to compare and contrast, or one to write a paragraph about, or whatever the assignment is. And that way you are giving them the power of choice, but you're limiting their selection so they're not just cut loose in the 10,000 plus ebook library, but giving them kind of some closer direction. Also, as a teacher, you can be friends with other teachers on Big Universe, so you can, say, oh yeah, I want to look at this collection they put together that they told me about, and I really like these, certain books that they've put together. Some of these collections don't really have a whole lot in them. I like this book, I want to go ahead and assign it out to my class right from here. So it's a good collaboration tool for teachers. In the writing tab for students, this is where they launch that writing tool. It works pretty much like a word processing type of program, meant to inspire creativity. Down here from the bottom is where they can click the letter A to add words and text, and then change the font and color and size, of course. They can add pages. They can choose the background color of their page. They can save it from down here with this icon. There's hundreds and hundreds of clip art images here so that they can expand one of these categories and just kind of scroll through all the different pictures that are available. I can choose see more rows to kind of expand this area, find what I want, drag and drop it into the document. I can click see fewer rows, then I can move this around and manipulate it, make it bigger or smaller or so forth, then save my book, and then I can publish it to the teacher, who can then send it back to me or publish it to the class. So it can be really good for written responses and so forth. I would say that before you plan a lesson around it, if it involves printing, you want to test that very carefully, just because depending on various printer drivers, print to PDF software, and just different printers, it can be a little bit challenging sometimes to get it to print the way you want to, but if you're just using it online, you don't have to worry about that, of course. The assignments tab is going to be very important for students, because that's where they go and where you'll direct them to see exactly the books that you want them to read before they're doing anything else in Big Universe. And they'll see the name of the teacher and the date that the book was assigned. So if they're being assigned books from multiple teachers, they know what book is coming from which teacher and how old the assignment is. Great way to differentiate learning and direct your students to what you want them to read. And if they go to update their account, as mentioned, all they can do is either change their avatar or change their theme, which they'll do all the time, so that when they come back to their Me tab, it's going to look different depending on how they personalize it. Very briefly, I'm coming back into the teacher account just for like 1 or 2 more minutes, if that's okay. And just want to show you that in your writing tab as the teacher, you've got access to these lesson plans written by other licensed teachers, organized by grade level up through 8th grade. So if you're teaching 7th grade class, there are 3 different pages here organized by weeks, and of course you can use them however you want to find different ways to integrate Big Universe into what you're doing. Say that you're, I don't know, studying or you want them to do some research writing on biographies. If there are any materials needed, they'll be listed up here. If there's a simple handout, you'll have this download link where you can download it and print it off for your class. And then you've got links to the required reading here on the right-hand side, where you can come right into one of these books and just assign it out to either your whole class or to particular students. This one has a number of, went back too far, a number of different books that that they could choose from for this lesson. So really great, easy way to integrate Big Universe into what you're doing already in the classroom. And then if you come and click on your avatar as the teacher, last thing I want to show you is that you've got access to our support area by selecting Help. You can search for answers, look at frequently asked questions, help topics, see those success stories and testimonials I mentioned. There are training videos, and you've got a link to contact us, which shows you our email address and telephone number. It will pre-populate this web contact form with your information so that you can type us a message and submit it to us very easily as well. really want to be here for you to help make it a success in your classroom. And I think that you guys have already had some success. It looks like you've had some usage already in your account. So great job getting started, and we'll look forward to hearing about your success and helping you along the way. And with that being said, that's kind of all the bells and whistles, the ins and outs, and I'll just pause in case, Andrea, you have any questions right now. And if not, just feel free to forward me any follow-up questions that other teachers have as they watch the video.
Thank you so much. You did a great job presenting.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.